Hey guys, Martin here. Unfortunately, this week I didn't schedule things very well, and I had a few days where I was just swamped with work, so I didn't get a chance to actually sit down and film a We're Still Here of my own. But fortunately, I've had several contributions from other, similarly affected people who want to talk about their experiences with depression, and they'd like to share them with you through these videos. And I'm very honored to have the chance to not only talk to them about it and, empathize and, share their stories with the world. I'm also, really honored that you guys would, sit and watch any of these videos, even if they just, involve me or, anybody really. So thank you for listening to my story, and now thank you for listening to their stories. This one comes from Jessi Nowack, or Nowacking as she's known online. She's really, really cool person. I want to say she's a really good friend, but I don't know if... we're friends, I just don't know if I've ever really done enough to contribute to that relationship to be able to be like, yeah, she's a cool, great friend of mine. But she's the best, so I'm going to give this over to her and let her talk to you about her experiences with, depression and anxiety, and, respect her and respect her for coming forward with this, and thank you to Jessi for that. So without further ado, here's Jessi.
Hi, my name is Jessi. I go by Nowacking online, and I am very nervous right now because I am here to talk about my feelings, and that's normally not something I do. Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes of We're Still Here, and it's something that, is important to me because it's something that I've dealt with as well. And Martin asked if I wanted to record an episode, and normally it's not something that I would do. I don't really talk about my feelings, and that's not healthy. We should all talk about our feelings and shit. So I'm here to do that, and so yeah, I'm kind of nervous because I don't really do this. But there's just so many people that come to me at cons or write me letters and are, telling me that I'm a role model to them and I inspire them, and people are pursuing their dreams because I inspired them. And, on Twitter, I tweet some inspiring stuff sometimes, and I think people should do what they want to do in life and shit. So, but that was just me, doing what I wanted to do, just saying what I wanted to say and stuff. I wasn't trying to be like a role model or anything. I just wanted to help people because, people need help sometimes, some guidance and shit. Some young girls are seeing me as like a role model, and, people have sent me projects from school where they have, done art projects of my face, and like, this one chick did a whole book on, they were supposed to pick someone who is a role model to them or inspires them, and write this whole like little book on it that has poems and shit, that thing you do in 8th grade, like everyone makes you do. And she did it on me, and one of the things was to try to get that book to whoever inspired you once the project was done and graded. And so I got that book, and it's crazy. It's amazing that I'm just some dumb kid on the internet and people listen to me and stuff. And I figure that if people are going to see me as a role model, maybe I should act a little like it, like, I don't want people to look up to me and have me have any negative behavior that might influence them. You start to realize as you get older that people pay attention to you. And I don't talk about my feelings because I don't like to be a burden to other people. But I think this is something I should do so that people see me as human and not this perfect being. We all got shit, we all have issues. So I'm gonna talk about them now. So I've seen a few episodes of We're Still Here, and so I know that we're supposed to start off by cracking our voice, apparently, and then drinking water. But yeah, it's we're supposed to do something, talk about something that like makes us happy. So I think I'm gonna talk about my tattoo. It's something that I have wanted for a very long time. I've wanted a tattoo since I was like 9 years old, and I just found tattoos and art to just be so wonderful and just cool, and I always felt like I needed something, like something was missing on my arm for 13 or so years before I got it, you know. I just felt like something should be there, and it was missing, you know. So and I do on-camera acting, and so I kind of, excuse me, it's from the water. I kind of wanted to, like, avoid putting anything on my skin for the longest time because, I don't know, tattoos can be covered up with makeup, but I was just worried that you have to say that you have a tattoo when you, like, apply for acting jobs and stuff. So if they see it on there, they might be like, oh, well, we'd rather just go with a clean artist, someone with clean skin, you know? So I avoided it for the longest time. And I tried doing the camera action thing. I've applied for all kinds of work and stuff. And I could have a whole discussion on that, but that's not what we're talking about. The point is, I didn't really get any jobs that I didn't want the things in the end. I don't want to play nurse number 4 or lawyer number 7 because I love acting, but my heart was not in those parts, and I was just so bored. I was so bored, and I just did not want to be doing it, you know? So I was like, you know what? I'm not getting roles. I don't care about the ones that I could get, so fuck it. I'm just gonna get what I want. Like, I think it's time. And so I decided, it was earlier this year, I think it was June. Yeah, it was before con season. I'm 22, I'm about to turn 23, but, yeah, so I'm 22, and I went, and I got I wanted to be sure that it was something that I could keep on my skin forever and not regret, so I thought about it for a long time. Like, I considered it for, like, 5 or 6 months before I actually got it, because I'd wanted a tattoo for so long, but I needed something that I could have forever and not be like, why did I do that when I was 22? Ugh. I get my spirit animal, basically, is a baby fainting goat, because I have a fainting condition where, I don't know if you know what fainting goats are, but they're a type of goat where if it gets scared, all of its limbs like seize up and it kind of just flops over. You can just Google fainting goat and you'll find lots of videos, and it's cruel but cute to look at, you know. They just kind of seize up and fall over. And my tattoo is a baby fainting goat, but they don't actually lose consciousness. That's it's a fainting goat, but I actually lose consciousness, but they don't. But, you know, I'm small and nervous all the time, but I'm cute. So I get compared to fainting goats a lot, by different people too that like didn't know each other. Like, they would just talk to me about them and be like, you kind of remind me of one. And I kind of took that as a sign, like, maybe I am like a baby fainting goat. Maybe I should, look into them. So I did research, and I've loved goats and fainting goats and all that. So I got my tattoo of, I'll film some footage and put it somewhere so you can actually see it better, because I don't think me holding it up, it'll make the camera switch and stuff. But yeah, so it's a baby fainting goat on a skateboard, because a fainting goat should not be able to be up on that skateboard, because it will get scared and fall off. But he is up there, and his name is Wipeout, and he's cute. I love this guy. I'm really happy about it. You know, it's weird. My self-esteem kind of like, it got way better once I actually got the tattoo. Like, it was like, I felt like something was missing, like I said. And now I look in the mirror and I actually feel attractive, you know, like I feel good about myself. Which is good, you know. And yeah, it's kind of a reminder to just keep getting back up on the board, you know, because if he can do it, you know, I can. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm not sure how to start this part, you know. Where does one start when talking about a subject like this? I have depression and high anxiety, and and PTSD. So I guess I should just word vomit and just take it from there. I should just say everything, I guess. Okay, so when I was a year old, my parents divorced, and my mom took me to Pennsylvania. We lived in California, and my mom and I moved to Pennsylvania, and she was a single mom for 9 or 10 years. And up until that point, up until I was 9 or so, my mom remarried to my stepfather, and I didn't really, I guess I hadn't had a dad, so when I got a stepdad, I was like really excited about it, and I was like, cool, now I can like throw a football and all the kid things that you're supposed to do with a stepdad. But unfortunately my stepfather, he's Coast Guard and he's very military, you know, so instead of a dad, I got a drill sergeant, and I was punished a lot. And I was a good kid, you know, I was a happy kid. I wasn't a drug dealer, I wasn't sneaking out of the house, I wasn't doing anything bad. I just, you know, if I got lower than a B in a class, he would make me, you know, military style, just sit at my dining room table and just write 100 times what I did wrong. And I just remember it was just a horrible experience, because like I would you know, I have a heart condition. I'm pretty sure it's a long story, but my fainting condition is probably a heart condition, we're finding out now, and I'm going to be going to get some tests on my heart next month. Hopefully that goes well, and it is a heart condition because that's a lot more treatable than what I've been doing so far, which is not getting treated for it. That started when I was 3, but that's not what we're talking about. It adds to my anxiety, but let's reel it back. Yeah, so I would have to like give him these like tear-stained papers from when I just broke down and just started sobbing because I couldn't write anymore. My handwriting, I've never had good handwriting, and I went to Catholic school, and the nuns would just like, you know, punish me if my writing wasn't legible. I had to get these like fancy-ass, really thick pencils so that my writing would be kind of legible, and we had to go to a specialty store to get those. I just felt like a fucking idiot, you know, like, because I just, like, I got bad grades, and it's funny, because I would do a year in public school, and I got, like, straight A's and shit, so my whole growing up, I thought I was stupid, but then I went to public school, and I was like, nah, the nuns just hold you to such, like, a high standard that I was totally normal, but I just didn't know it. I keep getting off topic, I'm sorry, let's reel it back. All of that factors in, though, so little tidbits. But yeah, so with my condition, whatever it was, going up and down stairs was not a good idea for me. Because it elevates my head, and then up and down and stuff. And the pencil sharpener was, like, installed in the basement of our house, so I would have to write like a fucking idiot, and I would hate it. And then to sharpen the pencil, I'd have to go all the way down to the basement, sharpen the pencil, go all the way back, and I'd have to do that maybe 2 or 3 times each paper, because I had to write 100 times. I will not, blah, 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 whatever it was. So that was not good for my health, and I felt like garbage, and I could see my friends playing outside, and I couldn't do anything, so that was fun. So yeah, not a great dad experience. He was, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I don't really know him, you know. He's one of those family members where you don't really talk. It's kind of just, you sit at the dining room table for dinner every night, and then that's it. Like, you don't really talk. My mom would be there, and I would talk to my mom, and then my mom would talk to my stepdad, but my stepdad and I wouldn't really talk. Yeah, so he held me to a very, very high standard. And then I started practicing that on myself, because I felt like I needed to, like, earn his love, you know? Even though, like, you totally don't have to. Like, shut up. You don't have to earn anyone's love except your own. Just learn to love yourself. But I didn't know that at that age, so I was just trying my best, and my best was never good enough. He never really acknowledged me. We didn't talk to each other, and I was just fighting this uphill battle for years and years where I was just never good enough for him, so I wasn't good enough for myself. And so I started experiencing depression when I was the first time I experienced it was like 15 or 16, but it started getting really bad when I was around 19 or 20, because I have high anxiety, and I worked at an Olive Garden, and it's not, people bash Olive Garden, but it's not always bad food. It's just not Italian, you know? If you want Italian food, don't go to Olive Garden, but, like, if you want, like, unlimited soup for, like, $4, sure, okay, I'll do that. But yeah, I did not have a good experience at Olive Garden. I was very stressed all the time. I would have nightmares every night about work, and then I'd have to go to work, so that wasn't fun. I was just not having a good time. And I started getting suicidal tendencies, and it just wasn't super great. I would just get really sad out of nowhere, or I'd get really angry out of nowhere. And so I saw a therapist for a while, but it wasn't really my thing, because again, I don't like talking about my feelings. I never used to talk about my feelings. But I did try therapist, and it wasn't super great, so I took a couple of years off of not seeing her again. And I just recently actually started seeing another therapist. I've had a couple sessions with her, and that was a couple months ago. Yeah, a couple months ago. And I had done research, and I thought that I had borderline personality disorder, BPD, and so I told her that right out of the gate. I was like, just to let you know, this is what I think I have, but I wanted to see a therapist, not so that I could talk about my feeling. That's an important thing, actually. It had gotten so bad that I wanted to get it diagnosed, but I wasn't seeing a therapist just because I wanted to talk about my feelings with a therapist. I don't like therapists, but I wanted to see her because I wanted to get it diagnosed, because that way maybe I could learn to deal with it better if I just knew what it was that I had. And the more she got to know me, the more she didn't want to just give me a diagnosis. I went to her once, and I was like, I just want to get diagnosed. And she was like, well, I can't really diagnose you after one visit. You know, I need to see you multiple times. So I was like, all right, fine. So I went and saw her a few more times. And when she was confident that she could diagnose it, she said she would tell me. And she did after my most recent visit. And she said, I don't think you have BPD. I think you are suffering from PTSD. And automatically everything, like, in my head kind of, like, clicked, you know, and it made sense all of a sudden. You know, like, when you get, like, one piece of information, all of a sudden the puzzle pieces come together, and you're like, oh shit, that makes sense. And I was so happy that I had finally figured out what it was. But then afterwards, in the car home, I started feeling guilty. You know, I was like, what? I don't what gives me the right to have PTSD, you know? Like, that's the thing that, like, war veterans have and shit. They're getting, like, blown up and their friends are dying beside them. Like, I wasn't that bad. Why should I have PTSD? And I started feeling guilty that I had PTSD, which is kind of ridiculous. But that's me. I just worry about things all the time. Because of my anxiety, I have trouble sleeping at night. That's another thing. I just kind of expect that I'm going to lay awake in bed for hours and hours after I initially go to sleep. You know, I go to sleep, but it's like my pregame. I'm like, well, you know, I'll go there now and then I'll fall asleep at like 8 a.m. I expect it now because my brain will not shut off. I keep worrying. I just replay everything in my head. Because I hold myself to such a high standard. I'm a perfectionist, and if I do something embarrassing or I do anything wrong, I obsess over it, and I just keep playing it over in my head over and over and over for days and weeks and months, and I will not stop obsessing over what I did wrong. Which is probably due to the list thing, because I would have to sit there and just write and write and write, and you know, I still get like weird chills when I need to write letters to people, you know, like a thank you note to grandma. I sit there and writing in print. I had to write in print the letters. The lists when I said what I did this wrong, blah blah blah, over and over 100 times. I had to print it because my cursive was even worse, you know, like I got C's every year in handwriting, so you can imagine how bad my cursive was. So when I have to write letters, my mom will sometimes be like, make sure you print so that they can understand it. And I'm like, okay, Mom. And then I forget and I start writing and I start like freaking out a little bit because I'm like, shit, I don't like this. Why don't I like this? The writing list thing was actually a memory I had repressed. And I only just remembered it like a couple months ago, actually, because I would always feel weird about it. And all of a sudden, writing letters to people, I would just feel like so fucking terrible about myself. I just felt like I was garbage, and I didn't know why, you know. But a couple months ago, I remembered, and I was like, shit, that's probably why. And, you know, I realized that I'm like scared of a piece of paper, and I'm like, I'm more fucked up than I thought. So yeah, I might be getting on some meds to maybe help me, because I avoided meds for the longest time because I didn't want to become reliant on them. You know, I didn't want them to be able to function, but it's gotten to the point where I need them, and so I need to just shut the fuck up and just do what's best for me, you know? Because meds aren't for everyone, but if you avoid them for so long and you need them, then just do what the doctor wants. Like, I just need to just chill and do what's best for me, you know? Because again, it's the high standard thing. I'm like, oh, well, I'm perfect. I must be perfect, you know, like, so I don't need meds because I'm like, you know, you just need to tough it out, and you just need to be your best, and, like, nothing bad will happen. And that's not a way to do things. My mom went to my first session with me, with the therapist, and, so the therapist asked her, like, you know, how was Jessi as a child? And my mom was like, she was, like, the happiest, best fucking kid. Because I was, like, awesome. I was happy, and I made friends with everyone, and I was top of the cross country team, and I was like funny and nice, and everyone liked me pretty much, you know. There was no sign that I was depressed at all, you know. And through working through shit, my therapist and I came to realize that, like, that's how I coped, you know. I pretended everything was happy, you know. I just kind of ignored every time everything was bad. So I pushed everything down. I didn't talk about my feelings again. You know, I wasn't talking about anything. I just kind of shoved all the bad shit down. And because the way my mom put it was that she's like the best person in the world. I love my mom. But she doesn't know how to deal with the situation where my stepfather and I didn't really talk or like each other. So she kind of just said, well, you have to love him because he's your father. So I was like, okay, I just have to love him because he's my father. Okay. And so I didn't think about the fact that I was miserable. I was just like, I have to love him. Okay. Very, fake taping up my smile with tape. So it didn't, it was like a pot boiling, and eventually when I hit my 20s, it all just started to like bubble over, and I exploded, I couldn't take it anymore because I had pushed down all my feelings for so long, which is why it's important to talk about your feelings, and that's why I'm doing it now, do it when you're younger so you don't have to deal with it all exploding at once. It's not fun. But yeah, so that's that. I've talked about the bad shit, but I think I could talk about something maybe a little happier, As a kid, I was happy, but I wasn't really confident, I guess I should say. I think I thought I was confident, but I wasn't really. I was never really attractive, I wasn't one of the popular kids with like the perfect hair and tits and shit, I was a geek, a drum geek, I hung out with the dudes that didn't have any friends. But I was a class clown, so people liked me. But the older you get, the more the class clown becomes less of a me type of person and more of an asshole that won't like shut the fuck up and thinks he's like the best thing on the planet, so he cracks jokes in class and disturbs the whole class. Like the class clown kind of evolves into that person, which I noticed because I did kindergarten through freshman year of high school in Catholic school. Then for 2 years I went to a private school, college prep, which was even harder on me because like, oh, you have really tough classes. Let's go to like even harder. Let's go to like college level, but you're 16. And then I went to a year of public school because my grades were so bad in the college prep school that I was like, I don't really have a choice. I have to just switch over to public school. And then I got all A's, but that's another story. But yeah, so I was confident, but I was that girl that people asked out on a dare, I wasn't really, I didn't have boyfriends and stuff, and I thought I was straight back then, so I didn't really think I was confident, I was just desperate for, like, male attention, because I didn't feel anything romantic towards dudes, so I thought if I just date, the more dudes I date, the more chance I'll have to find the one that I like, I had never considered that I was gay, I just thought, I haven't found the right one yet, even though I'm not attracted to dick. Yeah, so I always had this kind of weird feeling that, this weird feeling where I felt foreign in my own skin, if that makes sense. And once I figured out that I was gay, my confidence just went through the roof. Like, I finally had figured out who I was, and I felt comfortable and awesome, and I was finally happy with who I am. I felt so relieved, it was an amazing feeling to find out who you are, But society is so, like, it's so, you are straight until proven otherwise. So I didn't think about my own feelings. I just thought, okay, I'm straight. Because, like, you would know if you're not straight, right? But if you don't think about how you feel, and you don't think about how dudes make you feel versus chicks, how are you gonna know? Like, there was no way for me to know unless I thought about it. But I didn't think about it. So I was like, okay, I'm straight. Cool. The words are so foreign on my tongue now. Saying the sentence, I'm straight, it makes me feel like I'm lying. Because I am, you know, it's weird. It's like saying, I'm a giant chicken. I could be a giant chicken, you don't know. But yeah. So that was good. Coming out of the closet really, really helped my self-esteem. And the tattoo really helped my self-esteem. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. Besides the depression and the PTSD and the anxiety. Other than that, but yeah, like, honestly, because of those two really big things, despite all of the bullshit I'm going through, I'm happy about myself as a person, and that's important. You know, that just shows how much of an influence the tattoo and coming out had on me, that I am this fucking miserable with my depression and my anxiety and all that shit, and yet I am still the happiest I've ever been. That's telling, you know? That's interesting. So, never give up. I love you guys. Bye.